What's up, Brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, the great and powerful, it's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What is up, you all?
Tonight's brew is from 6 Point Brewery. It's their Brooklyn Sunny Lager. And Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight? Well, we got a loaded one for you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so first and foremost, IndieWire has come out with a very exhaustive list of the top 100 movies from 2000?
Of the 2000s, yeah.
Okay, of the 2000s, yeah. So we're gonna have fun just looking at the top 10. You're gonna be reacting with me because I haven't actually seen the top 10 yet. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
It will.
What else do we got?
Well, continuing our movie talk, there's a little film by the name of Alien Romulus coming out. We've seen the trailer. We've reviewed the trailer, trashed it, and it got 2 thumbs up from us. And it turns out that that praise was well earned from the majority of critics because it's getting good reviews. And we're going to go over those reviews and also talk a little bit about the Alien franchise. Because we've both watched. Well, I've watched the first 2 more recently, and you've seen the whole kit and caboodle. You got a lot to say.
And continuing in movie news, for some reason, we got another biopic ready to go. And this time, it's the late, great Anthony Bourdain. So, do we still need these things? We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Switching over to music. We actually were talking pretty recently about this too, but there's a conversation to be had about how we consume our music, and obviously nowadays the top contender is streaming. But do we lose something in that shift over from physical media, from CDs and vinyl and even tapes to the streaming platforms in the form of sound quality? Is it worth it? We'll let you know.
I think we'll just leave it at that.
Sure. Officially on the books.
Yeah, we'll see where we go because we don't know what's going to happen when we open up this beer. That's all I can tell you is that this is episode 436 of the One Beer In podcast. Oh, thank you. It's a seasonal release. This is a seasonal release.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where 2 brews crack open a brew, and we see where that one brew takes us. I'm Marco. That's Adam. Let's get ripping and rolling. You want to tell the people a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight?
I'd be happy to. This is the 6 Point Brewery Brooklyn Sunny Citrus Lager. There is a cold read, and it goes as follows.
Yahoo!
Lemon and lime aromas sparkle from the super crushable 5.3% citrus lager. Brooklyn Sunny is a brew perfect for slurping in the sunshine. I don't like that. While you're soaking up some rays. The most refreshing suds under the sun. Slurping it. You gotta slurp in that sunshine.
I don't know. How do you do that?
6 Point Brewery, Brooklyn.
Well, thanks, 6 Point.
Yeah. Seasonal release.
Yeah, so I did grab this because I wanted to bring back a 6 Point, but I also thought it was apt that it was like a seasonal summer beer.
Yeah.
Because I think probably by the time that we record next week, we'll be into a new season of beers. I mean, I went to the liquor store and there was already like a full Oktoberfest section. So
yeah, the Sam Adams is already out. We're getting the pumpkin beers now.
The Imperial Pumpkin guys, all the pumpkin dudes are ready.
We're so back.
Yeah, we're so back.
So back, baby.
Fall beers, baby. Fall beers. I don't know about you. I do know about you. It's the best. It is probably the best season for beers.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, bar none.
Bar none.
It is the happy medium between the light beer and the ultra heavy wintertime ales
Yeah.
and super strong stuff. It's right there, perfect, as God intended. Yeah. And if you've been listening long enough, you know we love an Oktoberfest beer.
Right. Okay, kids, let's get into this. Okay, IndieWire, famed IndieWire. Where did it go? No.
Uh-oh.
I already went off of it.
Oh, no.
Maybe pull it up on your computer, because then... Well, no. Because then I have to...
I can give a brief intro here. IndieWire decided to do what we've seen throughout different publications, usually within music. We were talking about this earlier, but they decided to do it with film of a 2000s best of 2000s list, top 100. And I want to say, Speed Racer made the list.
I bet it did. I saw that, and I knew...
Was it 99 or 100?
It was 100.
It was number
It starts
100.
the list. I knew you were going to have something to say about that.
I knew I was in good hands as soon as I saw that. I felt safe. And, by and large, pretty good list. I have to say, as a film nerd myself.
Yeah.
Pretty solid list. Some surprising ones here and there. You can go check it out yourself. We're obviously not going to go through the entire list. Just going to go over the top 10, specifically because there is a controversy. And that is that the number one pick is... I'm not going to say.
Leave them in suspense.
Marco is going to see it himself and react accordingly.
Okay. I'm almost there, guys.
Okay, yeah. It's an annoying website.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm at the top 10.
Top 10. Top 10.
So I'm just
give it to him.
I'll just read them off. Okay. Spirited Away.
Sure, yeah.
Get that.
Great.
Obviously. Directed by Hayao Miyazaki.
Hayao Miyazaki.
Number 9, The Time That Remains. Never heard of it.
Never seen it.
Directed by Ilya Suleiman.
Yeah, a lot of...
Sorry, if I mispronounce any of these, you know me.
Yeah, we're a beer podcast. What do you want? Yeah, a lot of foreign films made the list, which is really cool to see, and it's given me some stuff to look up.
Number 8, Lost in Translation. 8th best movie.
I mean, I still love it. I still love it.
That alone makes me want to go back and look at the rest of the list and okay.
Well, and you know what? I should preface by saying I saw a tweet from one of the editors, and somebody asked, "What is the criteria? Like, how did you guys figure this out?" And he literally just said, "It's movies we like." Like,
okay.
we literally sat down and hashed it out and figured out like what movies do we like the most.
Well,
from the 2000s.
The thing is with basically all of these lists. That's all it really is. I mean, you can spin it however you want, but at the end of the day, it's a room full of nerds in whatever subset genre,
right,
discussing the shit that they like.
Unless it's something quantifiable, like what's the highest grossing movie?
Yeah, and even that's not really even a ranking. It's just factual information. Any kind of ranking is just
opinions.
People. Excuse me, Jesus.
It's already starting.
It's just nerds in a room. Going, this is higher than that one, and just arguing their points.
Sure.
Sofia Coppola directed that. Just want to give the directors. The Beaches of Agnes, directed by Agnes Varda.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Number 6. Okay, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Sure.
I get that one.
Old PTA.
Don't want to be too on the nose with it, but that's
fantastic film. Yeah.
35 Shots of Rum, directed by Claire Denis.
French film.
Okay, so now we were in the top 5. That was 5. Number 4, 2046, directed by Wong Kar-wai.
Which I found out is a sequel to In the Mood for Love. I didn't know there's a sequel to In the Mood for Love.
A sequel?
Yeah.
Made it into the top 5.
It did.
Interesting. That must be an incredible. Wow, that's a really long write-up. So.
Yeah, they loved it.
Number 3, Mulholland Drive. I get that.
Sure, yeah.
Every time somebody brings up Lynch, Mulholland Drive, I mean, it's just like...
Yeah.
I mean, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I get that. Top 3. Number 2, Yi Yi, directed by Edward Yang. Right on the cusp of this, released in the year 2000.
Tell them.
This isn't real.
What's the number 1, Marco?
AI. Artificial Intelligence, directed by Steven Spielberg, 2001.
Yeah.
This isn't real, right?
It's very real. It's very real. And you know what's funny? Looking at a lot of the responses on Twitter, at least, people are like, yeah, AI is awesome. What happened? Where did we switch timelines? Because I remember when AI was looked at as like one of Spielberg's lesser films.
Well, see, yeah, join me, Adam. Join me in this anger over this revisionist history, this nostalgia thing that we're doing now. I don't know where it started or when. Well, I know when. It was very recently. But now all of a sudden, all the stuff that we all agreed that was not good, even if you like AI, I don't think it's a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie, no.
But, okay, I mean, even on that list, you're telling me AI is better than There Will Be Blood? It's not better than Lost in Translation. I mean, even in that same list, what are you talking about?
I don't think it's better than Minority Report.
No, yeah. It's not even...
I mean, call me basic, but...
It's not even, one of Spielberg's best, let alone the best... Okay, all right. I think
Or Munich's better.
Munich.
Yeah, Munich. Might need to go back and rewatch that one, though. It's not available anywhere.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's right. It's not available anywhere. What happened to Munich?
That's the question, Adam. What happened to Munich? So you got shit like this, where you've got people going, yeah, I get it, bullshit, and I'm just getting. I feel like I'm in an alternate timeline. I feel like I'm going insane.
I'm sorry for doing this to you.
No, because I needed to get this off my chest. I am so sick of it. I'm so sick of going online and because we used to have the opposite thing where publications like Vice would be like, you know that thing everybody loves? It actually kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're just being like a contrarian. You know, you're trying to be an edgelord. You're like, oh yeah, I see all. Yeah, I get it. You guys like that thing? Actually, kind of
just
terrible.
Rage baiting.
And that was an easy thing for all of us to just go. We're not going to intervene.
Shut up.
Yeah, just go away. Go away.
Yeah.
We love this thing. No. But now we have this opposite thing where you have people who are like, actually, that movie that you all said was bad, you just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And you weren't smart enough to get it, or you didn't have the cultural reference to get it, or you just didn't understand. But now we can look back on it and say, actually, this movie was good. I see it a lot, and this is probably where most of the anger comes from. Mm-hmm. I see it a lot with the prequel trilogy, Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
This revisionist, like, okay, if you like episode 1 through 3, I'm not gonna fault you for that, because they all three of them have enjoyable moments, and if you're a Star Wars nerd, they have a lot of lore, and they're a thrill ride. If you were, because when episode when they started doing it, we were like 9, 10, 11.
Oh, we were perfectly aged,
right,
to grow up with those movies.
Yeah, so I get that. And if you're our age, if you're in your mid-30s, then I can understand the nostalgia for the movies. Yeah. But even as a child, watching episode 1, you could see it and go like, well, wasn't that good.
It drags a little bit. It drags a little bit.
What is all this tax stuff we're talking about and trade embargoes in the beginning? And now you have to contend with people going, actually, Hayden Christensen is a good actor, and he portrayed Darth Vader perfectly, and we're so happy that he is now getting his just due. Listen, I got nothing against Hayden Christensen as a person. No, I promise. As a person, he seems like a nice guy. I've seen him in interviews, and he just seems like a really pleasant person.
Seems humble,
and he seems
nice.
Really grateful for just everything in his
all
life.
The opportunities. Yeah,
I'll even say I like him as a person. He seems like a really good dude. Mm-hmm. He's a terrible actor. And I don't know when we started pretending like he isn't.
You hear that, Sherry?
What?
Hayden Christensen? He's a terrible actor. You like Hayden Christensen?
He was my sexual awakening.
Exactly. That's all he was for anybody.
No, but he also is a
even
good
me.
actor.
No, he's not a good actor. He's awful.
He made me believe he killed all those younglings.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. He did.
No,
And I
no.
was like, well, I want to hug him. I can fix it. Oh.
See, that's just your uterus talking. That's all that was. He's terrible.
Not just the men, the women, children.
You turned her against me. Ah! Let her go, Anakin. Let her go. Listen, I'm a Star Wars nerd. I've seen those movies a lot. And every time I go back and I'm like, man, he's so miscast. He's terrible. That's why couldn't he do anything after Star Wars? Because he's bad. Look, listen, I'm going to say something else. And people might not like this one either.
Okay.
Mark Hamill's not a great actor either. Okay, but he's on this.
What
He's
about
an
voice actor?
incredible voice actor.
Okay.
Probably one of the best. Probably one of the best.
Some say.
I would say top 10 voice actor.
Yeah.
But as an actor on screen, not that good. He's not that good. And so if you're saying, okay, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker is so moody and bratty and shitty because his dad was, then sure. But that's not what they were going for. That was a lucky, happy accident 40 years after the fact that people can go back on and say, yeah.
It's poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen's bad. The prequels are bad. AI is not bad, but it's
No, it's not
plug your ears. It's not bad, but it's not the best movie since the year 2000.
AI, I think, is better than it seemed when it came out. I think it does deserve some revision. Or some revisionist history with it. Or not revisionist history, I should correct that. It should be rewatched, I think, for a modern audience because I think it reads better in 2024. I think it is a more complex movie than we gave it credit for at the time. I think it's way darker than almost anything that Spielberg's done in a pop culture stance, because obviously he's made very dark films.
Yeah.
But I think people weren't looking for that from him at the time. They're looking for another Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And AI is not that movie. So I do think that it deserves more praise than it got at the time. Do I think it's the number one movie of the 2000s? No.
See, and the thing is, that's not a controversial thing to say. And that's why lists like this piss me off. Because the Apple list, for instance, that we went over, was it controversial to put Miseducation number 1? Only slightly.
Yeah.
But number 2 was Thriller. So you could interchange 1 and 2, and you would still get what amounts to probably not the most talked about list as far as like the top 10, but at least a consensus understanding of like, okay, they made this list. We all agree that that's probably the best. You know, not everyone's going to agree, but probably consensus. Those are the 2 best albums in at least the last 50 years.
Right.
Something like this, it's just, if they put There Will Be Blood, for instance, at number 1, you could go, okay, I might not agree, but I get it. I see what even if you put a foreign film that might not be as familiar to American audiences, and you put that at number 1, that may seem douchebaggy to American audiences. Pretentious to us because we haven't seen those movies. There's a lot of movies on this list, that even the top 10 and some that I was skimming through, a lot of movies that I hadn't seen before. But I'm not going to say they don't deserve to be on the list because I've never seen them.
So if you speak to them,
right. So if you put one of those at number 1, I wouldn't be like, no fucking way, it has to be something. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to put a movie that is like very clearly understood as maybe a misunderstood movie in his filmography, maybe an underrated movie.
Yeah.
But the best?
The best, the greatest. Even among his own movies that came out in the 2000s.
Yeah. That's
what?
Crazy.
Huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that just shatters the whole list. Because then when people are rightly upset, not the people who apparently believe that it's a good pick, but the other people who are like, no, that's bullshit. Then IndieWire can just be like, nah.
Right.
You know?
But you're talking about it.
Yeah. We got the clicks, and god damn it, did they get the clicks? Because the way that website is set up, Jesus.
Oh yeah. You got to work for it.
Ah, man.
But anyway, yeah. So I just thought it
exhausting.
was worth looking at.
Yeah.
And discussing. But I mean, yeah. If you haven't seen AI, go check it out and let us know what you think.
Man, I mean, I guess not props to, but like Spielberg is probably not unhappy about it. Like,
Shout out to
finally, people,
Haley Joel Osment.
somebody gets it. Yeah, Haley Joel Osment was in his kid prime.
Yeah. He really was.
Prime. Yeah. No, he's
killing
good
at the
in
time.
it. He's really good.
Oh,
in it.
he's great. He's great. He had
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. He's an interesting one because he's still a working actor. He's been in a lot of stuff since.
Sure.
But man, that when he was Pay It Forward,
Yeah.
Sixth Sense, and AI,
Yeah.
man, he looked like he was about to take over.
It was crazy.
Yeah, he had like that River Phoenix rep where they were like, this dude is about to.
He's a real ass actor.
Yeah, he's not fucking around.
Yeah.
This little kid.
Yeah. And he disappeared for a while. And then came back as an adult.
Yeah,
I think you kind of have to do that as a kid actor, you know?
I think it's the only way to survive,
Yeah.
right?
Just disappear for a few years, let yourself grow up.
Yeah, be normal for as normal as somebody like that can be.
Sure. Sit on the money you made, hopefully. Your parents
Yeah.
didn't steal it all.
Well, and the other thing is like, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
He's talented, but also whoever was smart enough to book him in those couple of movies before he disappeared was smart to have put him in like just outright fantastic movies.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have to contend with being like that one kid who, going back to Star Wars, played young Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that kid's name.
Yeah. Yeah.
There go my Star Wars bona fides.
I know.
But his life was a living hell.
Yeah.
Because he was not that great either.
Right.
And it's hard. It's
But
hard
he was
to like.
he was a
He was a
kid,
child.
so,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
hard to be like he's not a good actor. I mean, he's a kid.
Right.
Good child actors. I'm not gonna. I don't want to put a blanket statement on all of them, but I'll say that a lot of good child actors usually have something wrong with them. I mean, they have some kind of trauma that
Sure.
informs these performances.
Yeah, they have to,
unless
like-
they're like savants.
Sure. They had to grow fast to get a lot of experience, like life experience in the short amount of time they've had.
Yeah. And
know.
it's fucked up because like you want to be able to make movies telling these stories.
Yeah.
You don't want to just like not make movies with kids anymore because you don't want to fuck them up.
Yeah.
But Hollywood is such a disgusting machine that chews people up and spits them out that like you just run the risk every time you cast a child in a thing.
Right. Oh, and things are better now, but especially like, I mean, even up, I'm assuming to the early 2000s, there weren't that many protections for kids.
Right.
You know, to keep them away from drugs and, people who are going to take advantage
Predators
of them.
and
Yeah.
even their own parents,
Their
as
own
you
parents, yeah.
as you were saying.
Right.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
But he seems to have made it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's on the IndieWire list of greatest movies since the 2000s, and he's at the top of the list.
Number one.
So
with
he
a bullet.
can hang his hat on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to more infuriating news.
Okay. Even more
Even more. No, it's probably not that bad.
than AI at number one.
No. But it is a little annoying.
Okay.
We're making another biopic, a biopic.
Biopic.
And this one's now centered around the late, great TV icon, Anthony Bourdain.
Culinary icon.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Icon.
Icon.
I think we can just straight up
Writer?
call him, yeah.
Yeah.
Producer, TV host,
Film nerd.
film nerd.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the like plot is. I don't know where it's going to be set. None of that
None of that's
information's
out.
out. Okay.
None of that's out. Obviously, the guy playing him is younger, so it's, I assume, going to be a story about him growing up as a young chef.
It's probably going to be Kitchen Confidential, basically.
Yeah, probably.
And we already did that,
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's
let's just keep doing it.
It's going to be produced by A24. It's going to star Dominic Sessa, who is the main character from The Holdovers.
Yeah.
So, good actor. And directed by Matt Johnson, who apparently directed the recent BlackBerry movie that people seem to really like.
I've seen clips from that movie, and I hate saying that, but I have. I've seen them online.
I saw it on TikTok.
Saw it, yeah,
I get it.
and it looks good. God.
Yeah, so that's essentially all the information we have right now. And even that you had to kind of dig for because all the main headline that came out was just there's going to be an Anthony Bourdain biopic from A24 starring Dominic Sessa. That's it.
We're a little framing here is like off center. Get in here. Oh, there you go. Oh, it's much better.
Okay. So yeah, it was kind of annoying that you had to dig for who's actually making the movie, and I saw that point made, and I'm like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That you have to, because
yeah, the hype is it's an A24 movie,
right, which is like, no, we need to know who's writing it, who's directing it.
I mean, when is the last time a studio has had such a rep? I mean, I can't remember any. There are. Honestly, I honestly can't think of a time where I saw like, oh, it's a Miramax movie. I can't wait to, you know what I'm saying? Like A24,
I mean, like Pixar maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Pixar is a good one.
Back in the day, there was the Disney animation boom where you're like, all right, if a new Disney movie's coming out, it's going to be real.
Yeah.
You know? But again, we're just talking animation.
Yeah. And that's the, that's a whole different medium. So that kind of,
yeah. I don't know.
kind of changes the conversation because
know.
if you're like, if you were to say, I mean, oh, here's this new Disney movie, or here's this new movie coming out. It's made by Disney. Like, it's different because they're Disney properties.
Right.
Right? As opposed to, here is a movie that was probably being shopped around, and then this studio picked it up, and you're like, oh, since this studio liked it, it's probably going to be good.
I think what happened was...
What happened?
Now people are more informed about the studios than they were. I mean, except for the early days where it's like, it's a WB picture.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
He signed a 3-picture deal with the WB.
MGM. And kind of what you're getting, but even that I think was like too big of a thing too wide of a net for you to be like, it's an MGM picture, it's got to be good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
So,
they became these monsters, these big machines.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, okay, it's a Dimension movie. All right, whatever.
Cool.
Blumhouse, I guess, was, but then again, that was because of Jason Blum.
Yeah. Oh, Blum.
Okay.
Yeah.
His rep really carried that. So if there was a Blumhouse movie, you go, okay, this is probably going to be good.
Those
But
names
that was
on it,
mostly
so-
because of him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say the same for like Monkey Paw.
Monkey
with
Paw,
Jordan Peele.
yeah, definitely. But again, that's not
That's
even
all
like
recent too.
Yeah, and that's also because you believe in those people.
Yeah,
and
the
not
auteur behind it.
yeah.
Neon's
That's like
gotten big
a friend.
recently.
Neon, yeah. That's like if your friend recommended a movie, you go, all right, well, I trust your opinion.
Yeah. I think in the 90s, during like the indie film boom, a lot of people dug Miramax pictures.
Yeah.
Just because they were like, giving the indie directors money.
Yeah.
So that's where you get your Tarantinos from and stuff. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
don't
the
know.
Weinstein Company.
Ugh.
So, A24 producing this movie.
Yeah.
Matt Johnson
Yes.
directing this movie. And I just, I just don't think. I know that we're just going to continue making these movies because they make money and they win awards and everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just say this every time a biopic gets announced, but I hate biopics now. I used to love them, but I don't like them anymore.
Yeah. It's just the formulaic nature of them.
Yeah, they're never interesting. They're always really well done as far as, oh, by the way, Miami Vice was on that list. I just remembered
was it?
that. Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Nice.
I just had just flashed into my
Yeah.
head. I don't know why. Oh, Michael Mann. I just rewatched Manhunter the other night.
Oh, it's great.
Man, I really want to talk about that. You know what I want to do? I want you and I to like sit down and talk about Red Dragon versus Manhunter.
Okay.
Because they're essentially the
Yeah.
same movie.
Yeah.
And the differences in because there's choices that Michael Mann makes that make the movie stylistically and visually more interesting than like Red Dragon tells the story of the killer, the Tooth Fairy. I think they humanize him better in Red Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And Ray Fiennes is so good that like, you know, he injects so much into that performance that you almost, because he's such a, like, in his mind he's such a freak, and like, you know, they do a lot to not make you like root for him or anything, but like he's sick.
Yeah.
But Manhunter is so stylistically so cool and
It's incredible. It's
so
incredible.
good, man. So good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Biopics.
Yes.
They're bad. They're well-made movies. They're always well-made. But the thing about a subject like Anthony Bourdain, for instance, is he has hours and hours and hours of Anthony Bourdain being essentially himself, or being whatever he wanted to present to
project out.
And the thing is, unless it's going to be this exhaustive, unyielding look into his personal life, which to me, as I've gotten older, just like feels gross.
Yeah.
It feels grosser now. Like the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't know if I even want. If he wrote a book about his personal life, then he's presenting that information.
Yeah.
But for people to just be like, yeah, we found these diaries and we want to make this movie to show you like he kind of was a jerk sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if I want to even.
I mean, hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it is taken from Kitchen Confidential.
Well, but my point is, hopefully it is that, because that's the only difference now with these movies. They show like even when it's a movie and a person does like bad stuff, they always just kind of like gloss over it, or it becomes a plot point, and then once you're watching it, you're like, it's just kind of like it's a plot device, but he ruined a lot of people's lives, and this isn't like a thing that someone wrote. This person really actually like Ray, for instance, like he really cheated on those women. He really did those business dealings. He really fucked people over. He really did that stuff, and it's used as a plot device. Maybe I'm being a little too sensitive about it. I don't know. It's just not to say that that's the reason I don't watch them. The reason I don't watch them is because they're fucking boring. That's why.
Well, and I think that there is a difference between like a Ray or even like an Ali, where, you know,
a lot of Michael Mann this episode.
Let's keep it going. You know, I think the big difference is that Bourdain is way more recent.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just feel like you got to give it some time.
Yeah.
Especially for the people who knew him, and the people who didn't know him personally, but like us as fans who feel like we got to know him through the TV. I think it's going to be a harder sell if that isn't really reflected or believable on screen.
Yeah.
That like, oh, this guy nailed it. You know, like if there's any wiggle room there, you're gonna be taken out of it, because he's still so fresh in our minds. Yeah. And he's still so easy to access, and still, you know, goes viral, and like people are always you know, putting up clips of him talking about different things.
That interview with Obama goes viral like every 6 months.
Yeah,
and it's like that Elton John one that came out a couple years ago. Elton John is still alive.
Yeah,
and still wildly successful, still in the public eye a lot.
Yeah.
And he produced the movie. He was there the whole time. He was on the fucking campaign trail for it. He was on, or the promo campaign trail. It's not they weren't running for office.
I wish he would. He's old enough,
right?
Yeah, we may elect him.
He was on the promo tour for it, and they had this whole cute thing between him and the actor, something Edgerton.
Yeah.
Or Egerton. Egger.
Eggman.
If only Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman.
If only we had the internet at our
right.
finger.
All right. I'm doing it.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, that one was really annoying too, because I'm like, okay, he's there, and he's gonna give us as much or as little as he wants, and that's the story.
Taron Egerton.
That's right. Same thing with Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton was like, it was made by the dudes. Only one of them passed away.
Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody too.
Huh?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Too. Well, yeah, that made by
Especially.
the surviving members of the band who were like, we want it to be this cute look at the band. Oh man,
And that
movie sucks.
They
dude.
wanted to have it continue on after
It's so funny.
after the death.
Yeah, they wanted him to die halfway through the movie, and then have the next half of the movie be about the remaining
The
members,
surviving
of Queen.
members of Queen.
You know, the 3 other guys who you can't name. Yeah, those guys wanted a biopic about themselves.
Rough times.
Guys.
Rough times.
Reality check.
Yeah. So, hopefully, this movie doesn't go that route.
I mean, even the new Amy Winehouse one. I mean, Andy
Oh my
watched it,
God.
and they said that, you know, they liked it, but, you know, all due respect to them, it got like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. Not to say that that's the end all be all, but it was not a very well received movie.
I mean, it just didn't. It didn't look. It did not look good at all from the jump.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was going to be one of those paint by numbers. You know, we're going to hit this beat, this beat, this beat.
And she's another one who is so recently, like for us who grew up with her, she's very fresh in the cultural psyche. It's not like, if you talk about Amy Winehouse, a lot of people have, you know, I can talk about the music videos and seeing her win those awards when she won all those Grammys and stuff, and her big beehive and her performances, and reading the tabloids about her, and like, oh man, this is terrible. I hope nothing happens to her. And then it did happen. You're like, oh, well, that was inevitable. And feeling like, fuck, why does this always happen? Like, it's very fresh.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Bourdain, when he did what he did, that still is emotionally affecting the people around our age, because we grew up with, if you were fans of him, he was like the first dude that was so cool and made cooking and being a chef seem like this badass, like, counterculture thing.
Yeah.
And it's still like, dude, I watched his documentary just recently. I watched the one they came out with like right after he passed.
I still haven't seen that one.
I don't know if I think we talked about it when I watched it, but dude, I was bawling.
Yeah.
You know, you get to the end
tough.
and you're just like, Jesus Christ. And then you're going to make a biopic, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, what more do we need to gain from this that we can't glean from his own writings and all that he gave to us before he passed? What more are they going to give to us in this? It's just going to be a cutesy little... I just have no confidence in biopics anymore.
Yeah.
After Walk Hard, they should have just been done.
Yeah.
Because at that point, when they hit all the beats, everyone should have been like, oh, we can't do this anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's what they all are, huh?
And instead, studios were like, so? You little piggies are going to watch
You're
it
gonna
anyway.
slop it
You're
up,
gonna
piggy.
slop it up. And that's exactly what they did. They gave Rami Malek an Oscar. We all agreed that Bohemian Rhapsody is not a good movie, and they gave him an Oscar for it. When's the last time somebody did so well in a bad movie that they were like, that movie's dog shit, but man, Rami Malek's performance. I like Rami Malek.
Yeah, I mean, we both do. I love Mr. Robot.
Yes, great show. And I think Rami Malek's a great actor.
Yeah.
But those big old horse teeth, man. I mean, you can watch interviews of Freddie Mercury and you can see that the size of his teeth did not affect the way that he talked. Yes, darling. Let's sing a song, darling. The fuck out of here.
Come on, Rami.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So, I don't have high hopes for this movie. Are you excited about it, at least? Is there any part of you that's like,
I mean, just the pedigree of A24, the fact that Dominic Sessa is good based off of The Holdovers. I thought he was great in that movie. And from what I hear, Blackberry was really good. So, you know, that's really the only thing that's giving me any glimmering hope for it. That they do justice to Anthony Bourdain in any way. But I don't know. I just like I'm with you. I don't think we need it, especially now. Like, maybe in 20 years,
Yeah.
you do it, and just so people are like, oh yeah, I remember Anthony Bourdain. That's crazy.
Yeah. In 20 years, Bourdain could probably play himself. They probably have like the technology to
Yeah, put it in the AI.
yeah, just feed it through the AI.
Bring him
machine.
back. Make him a hologram.
Have Haley Joel Osment play him in 20 years.
I see dead people.
Okay. One last thing in this movie news. Alien Romulus, as of this recording, will be out this weekend. And we already got the preview numbers, which give me 2 shakes of lamb's tail, and I'll give them to you. Alien Romulus. So it's sitting at an 81. Did it actually drop a percentage? No, it actually went up a percentage to 83.
Wow.
After 110 reviews, so it's actually higher because it was at 82 before we started recording.
Reviews just came out today, so they're rolling in.
They're rolling in,
folks, as we speak.
So it debuted to like a 97%, and obviously that wasn't going to stay.
Sure.
So it's now at an 83% as of this recording. Let's see. Disney will continue the #1 box office domination show that what? Oh, because of Deadpool.
Deadpool Wolverine still crushing it. Apparently.
Alien Romulus, per industry sources, is expected to do 40 million in the U.S. Together with a 35 million overseas outlook. Alien Romulus could reach 75 million global over the weekend. That's big. That's a big. Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool Wolverine.
Ruh-roh.
#2 is bound to be the 4th frame of Disney. Wait, what's #1? Disney will continue the #1 2024 year-to-date domestic. Their year-to-date box office.
So they're expecting Romulus to overtake Deadpool and Wolverine then.
But Deadpool and Romulus. Oh, man. Dude, it's only a lager, bro.
It's not that strong.
It's only a lager, man.
Oh, no.
Alien Romulus is made by 20th Century, which obviously is owned by Disney. So that's why they're gonna.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So they're just gonna keep dominating. That's what they're saying.
I forgot technically the Xenomorph is owned by Disney.
Yeah, which is so
It's weird.
so sick to think about, especially when you, man.
I mean, it kind of checks out. They had the Alien segment in the Great Movie Ride at MGM back in the day. You remember that?
No.
Okay. Just me then.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so good reviews, big numbers. Sounds like Alien is back as a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
A blockbuster movie that is also a good movie.
A chest burster, if you will.
Chest bursting at the seams is what.
Oh, boy.
And
Whoa.
and I don't know. I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember the last time I've been this excited about like a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking jazzed about this.
I'm excited.
Dude.
I'm excited. I mean, like I said before, like the people who make the movie get me excited for it at the start. So when I found out that Fede Alvarez was at the helm for Alien, I was like, yeah, why didn't we think about that before? Like, what took so long?
Right,
It makes perfect sense.
To get like a horror auteur.
Yeah, a horror director who's known for gruesome kills and having no limitations for how far he'll go in a horror film. I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense for him to do something in this universe.
Yeah.
So
And if you haven't seen his Evil Dead remake,
boy.
do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, him being attached. The trailers all looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that I've talked to people who've seen just the trailer and they were shocking. It's a shocking trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
When the face hugger, when they show the actual man, dude.
The face hugger's peanuts.
Oh.
trying to get in the mouth.
Yeah. And it's just come on, get in there. Like, oh my god, it's so terrible.
Fight it with your tongue.
I don't know. I feel maybe this is just like human arrogance. I feel like I could fight off a face hugger. Feel pretty confident in myself. I could probably fight it off. I don't know.
I've been thinking about this too because Sherry and I recently rewatched. Sherry watched for the first time Aliens.
Yeah.
And looking at them, sure, the initial surprise jump could get you because you're not braced for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see it coming, I think you're fine.
Yeah. I think it's the shock of that thing.
Yeah, rushing at you and going.
Yeah. But if you were ready to go,
once it gets wrapped around your neck, though,
yeah,
you're kind of done. You're kind of done because it's going to choke you out and then it's going to go in your face.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But if you're holding it out like that, you're fine.
No!
You could hold it like a baby and be fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't have teeth or anything.
Aliens 2, when you go back in and you're like, they're a space marine unit ready for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
None of them should have got face hugged. None of them get face hugged.
No.
Actually.
No, they don't.
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly right.
So, man, I think the people who do get face hugged, it's really just the initial surprise of what the fuck is that, and by the time you've registered what it is, you're done for.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll say this: but then again, can you imagine? I don't even like seeing a spider go across the
and
floor.
they're flesh colored too.
Yeah,
it's gross.
And they just look like two big hands going. Which I guess is kind of their design.
It's
Doesn't that look like
spiny hands and a little vajayjay in the middle, and then a tail, snake tail.
So I don't know. This is exciting that I know that people failed you and other film nerds when they didn't go out for Furiosa. Sorry.
Yeah.
See.
Exactly.
Still failing.
Don't even remember. How disrespectful. You'll see. You'll all see.
Dude. Robin watched Furiosa, and then he watched, oh man, what was the movie he watched? Oh, you're going to love this. Sorry, Robin. I love you. He watched that movie with Stellan Skarsgård his kid. The one who played It. He's playing. He's playing in
Bill.
Bill Skarsgård. Is it Bill? Is it Bill? Bill Skarsgård. Guy.
Okay, there's too many of them.
I know. So we're assuming it's Bill Skarsgård.
It is Bill.
Okay. So he played in that movie Kid Fights the World or whatever. Kid Beat World.
Oh, Boy Kills World.
Boy Kills World.
Yeah.
Now, wait. Go back in there. Okay. Pull that up for a second, please.
Okay.
And what's the Rotten Tomatoes on that?
Rotten Tomatoes on that is...
Should be right there at the top.
Oh. 59%.
Okay. And again, not to say that is the end-all, be-all of a movie's quality. It's just a good place to start.
Yeah.
Robin loved that movie.
Well, he's supposed to be mute.
Yeah.
And
H. John Benjamin narrates the movie.
Internal monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Robin loved it. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it. But then Robin watched Furiosa and hated it.
Oh no.
And he came to me and he was like, have you watched Furiosa yet? And I was like, no, I wanted to see it in theaters, didn't. And now I'm like, just waiting for it to get on streaming. And he's like, movie sucked. Like, I don't get it, man. It looked like shit.
No.
Like the CG on it was terrible. And I was like, dude.
Disagree.
I was like, hey man, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it. But everyone says that it's like one of the best movies of the year and that it looks incredible. And he's like, what? That's crazy. And then he was like, have you seen Boy Beats World or whatever? And I was like, nah. And he's like, that movie, fuck it. That was the shit. And I was like, what? And I told him straight up, I was like, people hated that movie and loved the movie that you hated. And he was like, what? And he just couldn't wrap his head around it. And I just think that that's a fun little microcosm of moviegoers. Like,
yeah, I mean, it showed that people didn't show up for Furiosa.
So I think this is an apology of sorts.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we'll give you Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
That's another legacy franchise.
It is, yeah.
That deserves big numbers.
Yeah.
And, maybe it was released at a better time, late summer.
Definitely.
Definitely.
That's what we talked about before, and over these past couple of months, I've only believed it more and more, is that I think once we had Bad Boys come out and be a success, I think that kind of started the wave.
Yeah.
But we needed something that was an easy access crowd pleaser to do that.
Yeah.
That, Inside Out 2, Deadpool.
I really couldn't believe how big Inside Out 2 was.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I didn't think it would be, as successful as it was, because it is a sequel.
Yeah.
And you know what they learned from that? Disney has announced a sequel for everything now.
They're
not going to stop
for everything.
Right.
They're making a prequel to Lion King.
A quote unquote live action prequel.
Yeah.
To Lion King.
Live action
with the dead eyes of the CG lions, the photorealistic CG lions.
It's also dystopian, and it's no surprise.
What do we have to learn about Mufasa as a kid?
Well, I don't like the rewrite that he's some orphaned lion that becomes
I didn't even know
king.
about that. I hate it.
That's the plot. Scar actually has a name.
The rightful
and
heir.
Scar is the rightful heir.
Oh!
And now this is according to the trailer. They bring in Mufasa. Scar vouches for him. He's like, "Yeah, this guy's cool. Bring him. Let's help him out." And he comes in and then usurps him. And it's like,
and then wonders why he's pissed off.
So like, what? Yeah, exactly. Like, that makes. First of all, that makes Scar's story way more sympathetic.
Yeah.
And it makes Mufasa seem like such a dickhead.
Yeah, yeah.
When the original movies, it was like, well, he's royalty. He's the older brother. Yeah. He's stronger. He's a better leader. He's more compassionate. He's not evil. Mm-hmm. Scar is evil. I'm not with these nerds who are all like, why can't we just and they want to harken back to these old school stories. But I will say the one thing that these, shitty nerds get correct is that sometimes we do just need a simple good guy, bad guy story.
Well, and we don't need a Wicked to the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
For every story. We don't need that.
We don't need it.
Some bad guys can just be bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And the thing is, Scar's story was already understandable and sympathetic enough
we don't need
from
any
a
more.
Kids movie from 94.
We don't need any more of his backstory.
We don't
we
need
get it.
to know.
He wants to be king.
Yeah.
He's
that's
been
fine.
overstepped. And that's how that happens.
It happens.
It's literally Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to improve on Shakespeare.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, man. No, we got it. We got it. His story made sense to 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now we need to know these like inner workings and all the like interpersonal. Yeah, exactly. That's what they want. That's what they want. They've seen that and they're like, we need more political intrigue in these stories about lions.
Right. But we need to make them photorealistic. We're not going to draw them anymore.
No. We can't have that.
Yeah. We need them not to be able to emote at all.
Yeah. And then we'll just hire Seth Rogen and Donald Glover.
Are Timon and Pumbaa in it?
Yeah. So in the trailer, I don't know
Why?
how much. I don't know how much they're in the movie, but in the trailer, they are telling the story of Mufasa and Scar.
Oh, I see.
So Timon and Pumbaa are there, like,
How would they know?
They're being told the story.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like, oh, that's cool. Let's hear the story of how you usurped your brother, and then he killed you. Oh wait, no, he's not telling the story.
I was gonna say, wait, no.
No. Yeah, Simba's telling the story. I believe.
How would Simba?
They're all lions, so I can't tell them apart because they're not people. So it's like two cats in a.
Oh, but this one has 2 spots on it. That's clearly Simba. How?
I mean, Mufasa must have told him, and that
But
makes him
how?
an unreliable narrator.
When? Like in the clouds, or like because we never like he was a baby.
Well,
he
didn't die when he was a baby. He died when he was like a teen, like a preteen.
Yeah, but you think he told them?
Technically, he was like adolescent.
I don't know. He seemed like 12 to me.
Yeah. No. Hey, I'm with you. Seems like a strange story to tell your kid when they're 12 years old.
Yeah. You know,
But-
your Uncle Scar, he's grinding an axe for me, son.
Your Uncle Scar actually has a pretty good case to murder me. So if and when that happens, might want to take a look at that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm not depressed.
I'm not depressed. But I do think that, you know, if he's you know, gearing his kid up to be royalty, to be the king, he might have to deliver some hard truths before he's ready for these hard truths. I mean, he did with the, hey man, listen, all that shit out there, that's yours. All that shit over there, not yours. Don't go there.
You see, but that feels to me like that's the start of a conversation that they never really continued. You know? Like,
yeah.
It just feels like he wasn't prepared, and that's the whole thing. Is like he wasn't prepared.
He
wasn't. He wasn't, and that's why he didn't do anything until he grew up. And what's her name? The chick. Nala came back and was like, "What are you doing? We're dying.
Yeah,
come back."
And he was like, "I'm chilling, bro.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Been on
Hakuna
vacation,
Matata.
bro.
Hakuna Matata.
Chilling." You know what they should do if they want to get really weird is make it actually live action and have people. Have like a Matthew Broderick looking dude be like like a beach bum somewhere with like a blonde beard and he's just laying on a surfboard.
Yeah.
And like his fat friend comes up to him and he's like, dude, I found berries on this tree. They're probably gonna get you high, motherfucker.
It's a gay stoner couple.
Yeah.
They're in Santa Barbara, just hanging out.
And then his childhood, you know, African friend comes up to him and is like,
"What
you
are you
have
doing?
responsibilities."
What are you doing?
And he's like, "Oh man,
Isn't that just Coming to America?
is it?
Kinda.
Sorta. Yeah, I guess kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus the stoner friends, but
Yeah. And Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, how do we get on the topic of Lion King?
Disney.
Disney.
Yeah.
That's right. All their sequels.
Right.
So legacy sequels will abound. We weren't really planning on talking about the D23, but just so you know,
Yeah.
there's so many sequels coming out.
It's for everything.
Moana,
Yeah.
Toy Story 5, which is like, I don't know.
Why are
if
we
you
still doing this?
right, when you hear Toy Story 5, does that not just make you sad? Does that just kind of like deflate you a little bit?
Yeah.
Incredibles 3,
Yeah.
they're doing a live action Lilo and Stitch.
Right.
Which I will say, for the record, is the only one that kind of makes sense to me because, like, Stitch doesn't... He's an alien. He's not real. So the photorealism of him is like the photorealism of the Sonic movie.
Right.
Wherein
It's an anime
he
character
just looks
and-
like Sonic, and that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Right.
So, Alien Romulus, though,
Yeah.
built on the back of 6 movies prior.
Uh-huh. Right.
And right? Alien,
Aliens.
Alien 3,
3. Resurrection.
Prometheus, and Covenant.
Covenant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not counting Alien vs. Predator.
No. Well, those do a lot of weird retconning stuff with
and they're like present day, which doesn't make much sense. And
yeah, the doing the present day thing I thought was a really strange choice.
yeah,
Because then it is implying that on Earth there was already this alien presence.
yeah,
And you are also implying that, 300 years into not even that long into the future, that we just forgot that they existed.
Yeah.
Because everyone acts in the first and second movies like Ripley's insane.
Yeah.
Especially in the second movie. I
Sure,
mean, I
sure.
know that there is obviously the capitalistic aspect of it.
Yeah,
But
the Weyland-Yutani is a shadow group,
Yeah.
essentially, and they even in the first one they know about the ship on. I just saw the movie. I forget the name of the planet.
LV
2 something.
226 or 220
Whatever it
something.
is. Yeah, the planet that they land on in the first one. Even they're like they know that that's there.
Yeah.
And it's clear in Aliens that not only did they know, but they sent people there to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're very aware of like an alien presence there, at least.
Yeah.
If not knowing that there are full-on xenomorphs there.
And I guess the whole thing with Alien versus Predator is like it's a government cover-up, but it was an entire town.
Yeah.
The Predator, the Predator, he was just walking through this small town.
Yeah.
Like, he was in malls and stuff. He was doing, like, it's kind of hard to miss. He's like 8 feet tall,
Sure.
alien.
Yeah. Certainly nobody took a picture of it.
No way. Not in
Certainly
2004.
not. No.
And then in the Requiem, which I don't know, I told you this, but like I watched all of the Alien movies and I watched AVP 1 and 2. So
Yeah.
I watched everything. Requiem, they imply that for thousands of years predators have been birthing aliens and fighting them on purpose
Yeah.
to make sure that the predators were still like the top species in the universe. They were essentially creating cattle to hunt.
Fight, yeah.
And if they ever got overrun, that they would do the classic beep boop beep and destroy everything before it got out of hand.
Yeah.
So that's when they go to Antarctica or whatever Arctic thing that they're at.
Antarctica.
That is like a temple.
It's like
where
a pyramid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pyramid where they go in and do the. I mean, it's. I'm sorry, I'm
upset that
even
I
doing
remember
this.
that.
Yeah, it's just. It's a thing where you have to, and it was Paul W.S. Anderson.
It was.
That,
the bad one.
That son of a bitch. Yeah.
Change your name.
Right. Yeah. It's not. The initials are not enough. You need to change the whole. You need to go by W.S. Anderson so we know it's the bad one.
Stands for will suck.
Paul will suck Anderson. And yeah, if you've watched Resident Evil, then you've watched AVP Requiem. It's the same deal. Yeah. Do we want to get into anything as far as the Alien movies are concerned?
I'm just curious about the one main thing, which is what is your favorite Alien movie to date?
3, obviously.
No.
Sorry.
I don't believe you.
Resurrection.
Don't believe you.
Somebody said that Resurrection is basically just a comedy with aliens.
Kind of.
And it kind of is. It
Yeah.
really is like a silly movie.
I mean, it's written by Joss Whedon, so, you know.
Yeah.
Kinda
Well,
makes sense.
and it feels like it was directed by the dude who directed The Fifth Element. It
Yeah.
has these comedic beats, these silly kind of slapsticky sight gags.
Funny you say that. It was directed by a French guy.
Oh, so maybe it's the same kind of aesthetic.
Yeah. I think they went to the same school.
Yeah. Because it does feel like that.
Yeah.
No, I think I definitely go back and forth in my mind every couple of years.
I think it was 4.
What?
That was directed by a French guy.
Yeah.
I don't, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
It was either 3 or 4 that was directed
Quote
by a
him
French
now.
guy. Forgot.
No, 3 was directed by Fincher.
You're right. It was
Yeah,
4.
so it has to be 4.
was
Yeah,
4,
because
yeah.
we know Ridley Scott came back for Prometheus.
Correct.
And I don't know who did Covenant. Maybe it was Ridley Scott.
It was Scott too,
yeah, it was Ridley Scott who did
He was
Covenant
planning
too.
to make it a trilogy, but
Yeah.
they were like, no.
I think they should have let him finish.
Yeah.
And
let him cook.
Yeah, and then you come back with because Romulus is a prequel anyway, prequel sequel. So
Yeah.
prequel. So yeah, let him finish his thing, man.
Yeah.
Let him get let him do his thing.
He
let him
deserves
cook. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, we're
And,
getting.
hey, listen, I'm a Prometheus truther.
Yeah.
And not so much Covenant.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a Prometheus truther. I think that movie is highly underrated.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
I think the stuff that they do with the engineers is so endlessly fascinating. It creates a lore that is like, man, dog, I was on YouTube looking up videos and stuff, watching like deleted scenes, looking at like script rewrites and shit, because it was like really interesting.
Yeah.
What Ridley Scott was trying to say with the engineers. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm right there with you guys, the Prometheus truthers.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I think I gotta go Alien.
Yeah.
I think Aliens is probably, it might be one of the greatest. It might be the greatest sequel of all time. I'm counting Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm counting Terminator 2. But Alien, what it is, the story it was trying to tell, how it was told, Sigourney Weaver putting on an all-time performance, the alien design. I've talked about this a lot, especially with Andy, because we were watching the movies together. I think the alien design is, I mean, I'm an idiot, so maybe maybe don't take this so seriously, but
Okay.
I think the alien design might be, I mean, I think it's a work of art. I
Yeah.
think it's up there with any, like, when I think about, like,
Well, it literally is. You know, H.R. Giger
yeah.
designed it, so, you know, famous artist.
So when you think about like the thinker and
Yeah.
like David and like, I think it's up there as far as someone having an idea, a wholly original thing that only a human being could think of, could dream of.
Yeah.
And then this team of people bring it to life. Its design is so beautiful. I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, man, how did somebody come up with that?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. The head, the acid blood, it's nature, the way it looks, the way it crawls, every time it does a jump scare. It's just, I think it's perfection.
Yeah.
So the first time you see it in Alien, you're like, that's, I don't know if my brain can't compute
Yeah.
anything like that
What
because
am
I've
I
never
looking
seen
at here?
anything like
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah.
So a person coming up with that, everything in that I think is amazing.
Yeah.
I think the cast is amazing. They just Ridley Scott just really, you want to talk about striking.
Oh,
Well,
my
I
goodness.
mean, like Midas touch. It was just, yeah. So I think I got to go Alien. But if you ask me 3 months from now,
It might be Aliens.
it might be Aliens.
Might be Prometheus.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. I, after recently rewatching both, have to agree. I think Alien is timeless in a way that Aliens isn't quite anymore. I feel like Alien aged better.
Yeah.
I still love Aliens. Obviously, it created the entire colonial marines thing, which is like one of my favorite tropes in sci-fi. Like the entire look of it. So James Cameron is so good at making futuristic tech look awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I wish he would have done like a mech movie, with
Yeah.
like giant fighting mechs.
Yeah.
He could kill that. Like it'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Closest we'll get is more Avatar, but it's fine. But I just, the visual styling of it, like you were saying, it really holds up, and in a way that like Jaws does too. Like it's one of those like all timers. Like I could see it still feeling as scary and as fresh as it did in 50 years.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about many movies. So I think and it's such a tight, compact movie that wastes no time. It's all very purposeful, and the entire crew is awesome. The aesthetics are great. The story's great. Mm-hmm. Twists are great if you don't know what's coming. I got to see Sherry watch it for the first time, and that's the first time I've seen somebody watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it still works. The twists and turns work. The story's good, and I just
No.
no. For a movie made in 1979 to still pack as much scares in it as it does, I think it just is an enduring piece of cinema.
Yeah.
So
Well, we watched it in the theater when they did their anniversary thing.
Right.
And it just watching it on the big screen, reacting to it the way, it's still, you could release that movie as is, obviously like updated tech and everything, but pretty much as is today, and it would still be a perfect movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
even
think it
just
is.
the imagination of Ridley Scott and everybody that was responsible creatively,
Yeah.
like the AI on the ship, the
Mother.
the ship itself, the way it's shot, like that opening sequence where it's just like slowly panning around and you're seeing like those long corridors, and it's just like showing you
It's like a ghost is coming in. Like
Yeah.
the wind blows a little bit. Not the wind. Obviously, it's inside a ship, but you see like the air turn on and like it comes to life, and that sort of animation of something is it all makes sense within the greater message of the movie and themes of the movie.
Yeah. And again, to have that in your brain, like to envision it the way that Ridley Scott and the team envisioned it, even just the pods when they're waking up, and then the humanization of them, embryos coming out, and
they're reborn,
and then having that the scene where they're eating together to really kind of like, oh, these are just people. There's nothing special about these guys and girls. They're just doing their thing. And
well, they called them, not in the movie, but like a lot of critics and stuff have called them space truckers, which makes perfect sense. Like very grounded. The technology all looks kind of old and dusty.
The blonde, I forgot her name. She's the one who's like, oh my god! It was confirmed. It's confirmed in the second movie that she's trans. So having
really?
Yeah. So if you look, actually, in the when they're questioning Ripley,
the slideshow of everyone deceased
on her thing, it says that she's trans.
Oh,
so 1979.
Wow.
Main cast member. That's Dude, I mean, come on, dude.
Okay.
That's like, how can you be more
anti-corporation? Wow.
Pro-LGBT.
Strong female lead.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so woke.
So woke.
A man gives birth.
Right. You can't be more woke.
Unbelievable.
Now, if you started like rattling these things off, I don't know. Somebody might have a problem with it, but fuck them.
They're trying to corrupt our children with Alien from 1979. That's what's happening.
If you only knew.
Mm-hmm.
So Romulus out this weekend.
Yep.
Probably gonna try to see it as soon as possible.
Yes.
Maybe we'll come back and maybe we can bring back the old one reel in.
I like that.
We gotta start gearing up for Halloween at least.
We do.
October rather.
Start making the list.
Scary.
Yeah,
Scary hours.
Scary
hours.
I'm gonna see it on Saturday, so I'll be down to talk about it next episode.
Okay. I'm sure we're gonna try to see it. I know Andy's excited about it. They did a special edition re-release of the Alien Stompers, the Reeboks.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah, they're actually. I'm waiting for them to come out. I'm gonna try to cop them. I'm try to get them. They're only $170.
Nice.
So they'd be pretty easy to get. The only thing is like, they're hype beast kind of shoes.
Oh yeah, of course.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to get them. But anyway, I think that's it.
Cool.
Okay, we're gonna get out of movies finally, and we're gonna get into some music related conversations. And nice. You wanna kind of give context to why this has become a conversation that people are having right now?
Sure. There was a tweet that had a video example of the waveforms for different streaming services, and then a CD, essentially.
Yeah.
So Spotify ranked the lowest as far as fidelity.
I've been trying to tell people, and they don't want to listen to me.
So really like the farthest from lossless, essentially. Which lossless, if you don't know, is like the highest quality of audio you can get straight from the recording. I believe second best was Apple Music, and then best from streaming was Tidal.
Yeah.
Not surprising. That's kind of what they...
That's their whole thing.
Yeah, their entire claim to fame is that they...
you can't even upload to Tidal if it's not a FLAC file.
Yeah.
So,
that aspect's not so surprising.
By the way, really annoying.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It takes up a lot of gigs.
Yeah, it's a big file. It's a lot of data in there. But for good reason, because that leads to a better listening experience. So there was a kind of a question that I wanted to pose because that's what this tweet was kind of talking about. Was sure, it's nice to have everything available for free, essentially. Free-ish, free adjacent with a subscription. But we've lost a lot in sound quality, and nobody really even seems to realize it until you listen to things side by side.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't doing that because, Spotify especially is so ubiquitous right now that, it's just kind of like what people have gotten accustomed to.
Yeah.
In a way that people were used to listening stuff on the radio before there was like HD radio even. And it's like, oh, this is what music sounds like most of the time, unless I'm listening on my record player.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious what you think as a fellow music nerd too. Do you think that it was a worthy trade, essentially, to have, especially Spotify being the main culprit here, because Spotify literally apparently has lower audio quality than like YouTube in some elements or some aspects. So that being the main way that people consume music nowadays, do you think they're getting like the full experience? Do you think it's worth it for them to even listen in the first place as opposed to not listen at all? Or what's your opinion here on the kind of what we've sacrificed to make music so easy to access, but suffers so much that it just seems like people in the mainstream don't really seem to care, but maybe would if they knew.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Okay.
I used to believe that with streaming services, it made it how do I say this? So from an indie artist standpoint,
Yeah.
streaming services have like kind of brought that fire from heaven and gave it to the people.
Yeah.
How easily you can reach potentially millions of people is unprecedented, and something that as an artist it's hard to quantify like how valuable that is. I mean, I have people when I put stuff out, like strangers who just stumble on my music will say, this is hot, and I get, and that's awesome. That's great. I, get streams from Japan and the fucking Netherlands and shit. That's great. As I've gotten older, I've realized that is probably the only net positive to streaming services. At this point, it's literally the only positive for streaming services.
Well, it's definitely not the money.
Absolutely, it's not the money. I can tell you this, and I've probably said this on the podcast before, but right on the cusp of streaming services like exploding, I put out an album, and a couple of friends and family and some fans and stuff, supporters, bought the album on iTunes, and I have never made as much money than when they actually bought the album.
Sure.
It does not even touch the how much I would need for them to stream it to get close to them just buying it.
Yeah.
So as far as money is concerned, it's not even fucking close. So from a consumer standpoint, I don't know how much I need to beat this fucking drum for people, especially with Spotify. I mean, I have a real problem with Spotify.
I know.
And exactly, yeah. And people don't want to fucking listen, but maybe this post going viral will help kind of widen people's eyes to the problem. I don't believe that I don't think that there's anything good about the way that we consume music anymore. I don't think there's anything good about it. Yeah. I think we devalue artists themselves. I think we devalue the way that music gets released. I think even the release window, when people get upset when an artist doesn't release music in a more timely fashion, I think people don't understand. And I'm not even saying from an artistic standpoint how long it takes me to put stuff out, and I'm just a nobody. How long it takes somebody like thank you.
You're somebody.
As long as it takes somebody like Frank Ocean to put out.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
I mean, how could you be up? How could you? I mean, I know as a fan, you're like, man, I really want to hear his music. But to sit there and be like, why can't he just put out an album?
Yeah.
You don't know the fucking first thing about making music.
I mean, he could choose to not put anything out ever again.
And still have two of the best albums I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how that shit goes, man.
Right.
That's fine. Yeah, I think financially it makes no sense. We pay, the number is steadily increasing, especially with Spotify.
Yeah.
They keep bumping the number up and keep taking your rights away from you. I don't know when you guys are going to wake the fuck up, but they keep taking shit away and raising the price. They want you to fucking listen to audiobooks and their podcasts because they know they're losing money on giving fucking Joe Rogan's dumbass $100 million.
Yeah.
So they got to recoup on that shit. And they know you're not, they know they're going to make more money off of everything else except for the fucking stream. So even music streaming for the services themselves isn't the highest priority or the most financial, it makes the most financial sense for them.
Advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a service like Tidal, which delivers the highest quality music file that you can get, and it's number 3, sometimes number 4 in conversations of people that consistently use streaming services. That's crazy. It should be number 1.
Yeah. It's like the Criterion channel of music lovers.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for the artists themselves, they make more money when you buy the records. They just do. That's just
of course.
The long and short of it. You would have to stream
or see them on tour,
or see them and buy their merch.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, dude. This could be a whole other episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
What streaming has done to the industry, the irreparable damage it's done to reputations, people's understanding of how music gets made and delivered to them, what it has done to the consumer's brain when it comes to like, why can't they just put a mixtape out with 40 fucking songs on it? I don't understand.
Yeah.
The idea that an artist should come out every 6 months to a year, and if they don't, then they have fallen off, quote unquote.
Yep.
The nature of, or the speed in which we just get over artists and albums. There are album of the year quality albums that have come out in this year alone that aren't being talked about anymore. I mean, Schoolboy Q's album, I believe, is an album of the year contender, and it came out too early in the year. By the time we start talking about shit that's coming out in September, November time,
distant memory,
and that's fucking crazy.
Wait, that came out this year?
Yeah. Dude,
I'm saying that's what people are going to be saying.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the conversation that's going to be going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that people look at music snobs who buy records and think like we're snooty and pretentious and thumbing our nose up at
to be fair,
a little bit. There's a little bit. There's a little bit.
We are better than you.
We are. That's true. That's absolutely true.
We see it physically turning, and that makes us better. We
Nope.
have to manually put it down on the record.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
More work means better.
Way more work.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
Way more money.
Yeah.
But I think that all of those things have kind of like rolled into each other, and that's the nature of how we consume entertainment. That's the nature of how we that's like our interpersonal relationships, and like the way that we just move in and out of these things is like, it's so quick and fast, and if it's not right in front of you. I remember when I used to put stuff out on like Facebook.
Yeah.
I realized very quickly.
Aging yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time. Back in the Facebook days, I would do a thing called MediaFire.
God.
MediaFire. So let me give you kids a little history lesson. If you wanted to put music out back in the day, like before streaming services, but you when you couldn't press up the tech was advanced enough that you could upload something to a website, but there was no Apple Music, there was no Spotify, there was literally only Pandora, and it was like a internet radio station.
Yeah.
The way that you would put stuff out for people was to direct them to a website, a link, a hyperlink, and they downloaded your stuff onto their computer, and then from then, if they wanted to listen to it, they would either have to play it on their laptop or throw it on their iTunes, and then from their iTunes, they could upload it to their device, which is usually an iPod or a very early version of the iPhone.
Yes.
you had to learn very quickly that people's attention spans were shortening very, very fast. It was a moment I remember. I was like, oh, people don't have the same attention span that they used to. No one sits down and listens to an album. I mean, like I put out an album and it had all these skits and all these intermissions and like all this shit, and it was just like no one's listening to any of this.
Indulgent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, here's my album. It's 23 songs. Well, it's 23 tracks long, but it was intros and intermissions and stuff that like pulled it all together. At least I thought in my mind.
Sure.
And if you didn't have a way to like get it in front of people and make it as easy as possible for them, they just wouldn't do it.
Right.
I would be people were like, oh yeah, but it was like a thing that I had to do this and I had to do that, and it's like all you had to do was click the link and then download it. I'm like, yeah. So streaming services, I think, were born in part because that process was it was too much for people.
Yeah.
So it made it easier for them to just click on this thing and then, oh, now I have access to, boom, one button, and now I can listen to anything.
Yeah.
And if you just let it play, it'll play forever.
Yeah.
And I think that, also the world is crumbling. So some people just don't want to deal with the idea of doing anything more than just putting a playlist on and letting that
another thing.
Yeah, and I get that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think that every advancement in streaming technology has been a net negative for artists and for music culture in general.
Yeah.
That is my piece.
One thing I want to add to that is I also think there is because like you were saying, there's a devaluing of the music itself and the artists, but I think there's also an overvaluing of these 40-track albums.
Oh yeah,
that people are like, I mean, this guy's the GOAT.
Yeah,
dropped a 40-song
it's 40
album.
songs.
When instead of there being like a well thought out 10-track classic, it seems like people will be like, well, he came out with 20 tracks in this one, so there's no cohesive like album per se, but there's a bunch of songs, so that means it's better because there's more stuff.
Yeah,
there's more stuff for me to click through.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was just talking about they were doing a comparison between 50 Cent and Lil Wayne, Carter 2 versus The Massacre, and one person was comparing them for like track to track, and he was like, well, The Massacre has more songs. It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
So?
That absolutely has no bearing on the quality of the album.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's got more songs, so. And you know what that is? That is a capitalistic way of looking at it.
Yeah.
More bang for your buck. Of
Right,
course, you're going to overvalue 40 tracks because you're like, well, I'm getting more money's worth of songs.
Is that how like Europe looks at us with food?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like, oh yeah, I mean, you get like a million fries, but they're not very good.
But you get a million fries.
But you get a lot of them.
Yeah. And that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of things, man. It's like most industries, like, yeah, it's not going to be very good, but at least you're getting a lot of it.
Right.
It's like, man, eat your slop, piggies.
Enjoy. Yeah, games too.
Yeah. It might not be good, but at least there's a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fucked,
Yeah.
man. It's fucked.
Well, on that pleasant note, I think we should shift out of this.
Yeah.
Get on to some happier news.
Yeah, and in light of that happier news, well, I can say like happier news, it's time for the cheers of the week.
It is.
And the happier news is going to be, I feel like, well, for me, I don't know about for you. For mine, I figured it out while we were talking about it. It's going to be music related, so.
I saw you write it.
Oh, you did?
And I want you to know it's also mine.
Oh!
I wrote it down. Look, proof. So
because I was thinking about the...
Yeah. A unanimous cheers of the week goes to...
Jack White. No
names. Yeah.
So let's just talk about it.
All right.
You listened to it first.
I did. that morning.
and said that it is White Stripes level stuff.
Yeah.
That he's got that we're back. We're
Yeah.
so back.
Surprise release, as our good friend Rob mentioned. There was rumors about this album swirling, that it was just out there in the ether.
Yeah.
And people were saying, oh, it may never come out. Maybe it's gonna be like a hidden album, like a secret hidden album from Jack White. And then it just dropped one day.
Yeah.
On all streaming services. Speaking of the devil. And so I instantly was like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And obviously we haven't heard from Jack White in a little while. I feel like it's been long enough to be excited again for something new. And boy howdy, I had my socks blown off. Really, I think some of his strongest stuff since the White Stripes. Bar none. I mean, I'm a bit biased because I overall like his White Stripes stuff more than anything else he's ever done.
Yeah.
I do like, some of the solo albums. Raccoon Tours is fine. And some of the other side projects are okay. But I just like the really stripped back, minimalist garage rock and blues kind of style that he was known for back in the day.
Right.
So this album is exactly that. Return to form. And very much exactly what I wanted him to lean into doing since day one after the White Stripes. So take that for what you will. If you're into more of experimental, semi-electronic, kind of playing around with different instruments and stuff, phases, then this, may be hit or miss for you. But for me, hit all the marks. I think it's one of the best albums of the year. That's all I have to say about that.
The only thing that I'll add is, like, I was having a conversation with somebody about the album. I was playing it at work, actually, and they were like, "You play who's playing the Jack White album?" I was like, "Brother, come on," So we were talking about it, and the point that we kind of like landed on was, if Jack White had, after they broke up, just made a bunch of White Stripes albums, people would be like, "Oh, he's a one-note guy. He can't really."
Yeah.
And the fact that he made all these detours and did all this weird stuff that, like, kind of maybe threw his original fan base for a loop, but gained more fans and also kind of widened his, like, purview as a musician. And then to come back with this surprise release album and just be like, I don't know if y'all know, but I can still do this.
Yeah. It's like coming back home.
Yeah.
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 I picture it like an old basketball player who was like Vince Carter in his later career. Whenever he would, like, dunk on somebody, you're like, oh, he's still got hops.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
He just wants to shoot threes. But when he feels like it, he'll still give you the business.
Yeah.
And that's what this album feels like. And it's just a really satisfying thing, because, like, you don't want artists to be stuck in a box and just do the one thing over and over and over again.
And there's
right?
a lot of artists from that generation of music that did do that.
Yeah.
And diminishing returns.
Right.
And a lot of them have faded away. And
right. That's one of the reasons why, even if you don't like, The Car or,
Sure.
some of, like, the later Arctic Monkey
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you have to respect the fact that, like, Alex Turner is really going for it.
Yeah.
And I bet you that at some point we're going to get a Return to Form Arctic Monkeys album, and then people are going to be like, finally. And it's like, but you needed the car.
The main thing that I want to see from artists is for them to do what they want to do, not to do what they think their audience wants to hear.
Right.
And you can tell when an artist is making music that they want to make. Even if it's not very good, you can tell it's coming from a place of sincerity.
Right.
And that's all you can really ask for, because you can, I mean, especially from, again, this, like, White Stripes generation, like mid-2000s and a little bit later, there's so many of them that have faded out like that. Because you could tell they're trying to replicate the success of their first album over and over again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel that way about, like, Interpol, which is like one of Turn on the Bright Lights is one of my favorite albums of all time. Period. Love it. I love their first, like, 3 albums, actually. But you gotta do something different eventually. And they haven't, and that's why I don't listen to any of their new stuff.
Right.
So yeah, there's a handful of those artists of the same ilk that have kind of gone by that way. Jack White, not one of them.
No.
And I'm very happy to see that he's continuing to be successful and also give the people what they want.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I wanted that.
And here's the last thing that I'll say about this. Jack White is a guy who is shaking off the and he's in a position to do this, so there's obviously a privilege to being as famous as he's been famous and as talented as he is. There is a privilege to saying, like, I don't have to deal with streaming services. He has his own record label. He presses up these weird records. He can fucking frisbee them out wherever he wants.
Yeah. He hosts people at his recording studio, and they just press it directly to vinyl.
Right.
And they release it.
Right. So he can do all of these weird things as far as, like, physical media is concerned, and that's awesome. But people should be looking at Jack White and going, like, well, if he can still do it, there is hope for still having fun and being creative and also making money and also doing this. I don't want to call it the right way, but the right way.
The good way.
The good way, at least.
Yeah.
All right. I think we only got one thing left, and that's to review these brewskis. So,
correct.
Obi, what did you think of the 6 Point Brewery Brooklyn Sunny Citrus Lager?
I thought it was all right. Not my favorite, but definitely, as they say, crushable.
Yeah.
I could see having this on a hot day. Another barbecue-esque beer with a little more flavor than your light beers may be packing. But I'm not in love with the citrus flavor all that much. I think it's good. I don't think it comes off like super artificial or anything. It's definitely very limey.
Yeah, that's yep.
As opposed to lemony, and I can't help but feel like it tastes like a Bud Light Lime.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I know that's what they're going for, but it's just not really for me very much. I will give it a little slight bump because it is pretty refreshing. I could see having one of these crispy boys, but I don't know. I feel like after a couple of them, I'm like, tired of that flavor profile.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much prefer to have like a regular ass lager. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think it's good. If you're looking for something with a little extra pizzazz, a little zing in there, you don't want a beer flavored beer. Check it out. Maybe a good entry level for a craft beer coming up person. Yeah. Entrepreneur.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna go a half step below you and just give it a 3. It's a solid beer. If we were at like a barbecue and somebody was like, I'm a big fan of 6 Point, and all I have is the Citrus Sunny or the Brooklyn Sunny, I'd be like, okay, cool. I'll drink these. They're good.
Yep.
Like you said, they're nice. They're refreshing. Lime in a beer, to me, is supposed to complement the beer, not be the beer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whenever you get like Bud Light Lime or any of these weird, like, don't worry about putting a lime in it because we already did. It's like, nah, man, I want a crispy Mexican lager and I want to put the lime in there. I want it to complement the beer, not be the fucking taste of it. Yeah, and this is just too much. I think if they picked maybe a different fruit note to go with instead of lemon and lime, maybe the citrus would have worked a little bit better. Maybe like a blood orange kind of thing. Maybe, but yeah, as it stands, this doesn't really. It's okay. It's not terrible. Maybe I don't know. 6 Point. Maybe not bring this one back next season. Maybe tweak this one.
Keep it seasonal.
Yeah. Because lemon and lime, it doesn't really taste like lemon and lime. It's just really limey. It's
really
just
limey.
Yeah. And lime, just by itself, kind of has like a
concentrate. You squirted lime concentrate in your beer.
And it almost has like a cleaner note to it.
Well, that's some pine salt fresh, baby.
So, I'm going to stick with 3.
Okay.
All right.
Respect it.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then this episode is over. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Acknowledge me.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.